also live. Excellent. Let me make sure I've got chat pulled up so I can see that right on. Soul Reaper with the man goose in the chat. Much appreciated. All right. So welcome back to the Paragon, the Overprime Partners, or POP, as we like to call it, where this week we're going to be talking about the tournament. We're going to be talking about the early access. We're going to be talking about G-Star. We got a lot of stuff to talk about Overprime related. I'm the man goose. Joining me as always is NureOnna, aka Lolita, aka Lo, and we have a special guest, the Egoist, with us today. So NureOnna, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, and then introduce Ego.
Hello, everybody. As you guys all know me, I'm NureOnna. I am hosting with Mangoose today, and unfortunately, we don't have Stunt. He had to call in for a special occasion he has going on. So we have our guest star today, and he is known by the Ego. He's another Paragon partner. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey guys, it's nice to meet you. You can just call me Stunt Z or the backup player. I'm a big original Paragon player. Then I got big into Smite afterwards, but kind of big into it like you're big into like the person you date after you get your heart broken. I was like, I promise I'll buy your Smite gems, just don't leave. Yeah, so no, I got really into both games. I've played a lot of hours. I think within the closed beta between the both of them, I think I ended up with like something crazy, like 192 hours.
Ooh, wow.
A lot of no lifing. I got a girlfriend and just decided never to leave my house again. So yeah, welcome. Happy to have you guys on the stream, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to our show today, episode 2 of POP, Paragon Overprime Partners. So what do we got going on today? I know last weekend we had Jelly Knees and Mangoose here hosting the tournament, GTG tournament.
Yep.
What happened there?
This tournament I think was far more exciting than the last beta test tournament that they held. I will say GTG did an amazing job. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to coordinate 10 people to get customs together, but take that and multiply it by like 1,000, and that's trying to coordinate a tournament amongst 32 teams, amongst 2 regions, and GTG they knocked it out of the park. They did a great job with the organizing of this tournament. But yeah, it was without that weird orb prime mechanic, the games were absolutely way better. The EU tournament was really good. There was a little bit of controversy with the NA side, but we'll get to that later. The Egoist, or Ego, I know you wanted to talk about a little bit about this tournament. What'd you think about the GTG tournament?
Oh man, overall, as someone who is considered a very competitive player by all my guys and friends who just like playing casual, sadly for them, it was so much fun to watch, and finally like getting to see on a more public stage people's builds, different strats, positioning out of players who want to make a name for themselves playing kind of in the pro scene. It was phenomenal, and I feel like I learned a lot of stuff, but I also was so wildly judgy, and it has me like kind of waiting in anticipation for a lot of different things I want to try on December 8th when the game goes into full release with this kind of small squad that I'm throwing together. For like more than anything though, I know Full Send ended up coming in second place, losing to RPP, but dude, they had such an incredible tournament. It was like a stomp up until the grand final.
Yeah,
they did so insanely. Because I don't remember, did you broadcast any other games besides the grand finals one?
Yeah, we did one quarterfinal, one semifinal, and then the finals.
Okay.
Which one happened first? What happened in the first beta test? Which one was it? Was that like did it all start there? Is that where the tournament started? Because like I am new to the tournament and when they actually started.
Well, they just had a different tournament for the last beta test. The problem with that one was they had that orb prime mechanic where you could have a major prime push your lane and it spawned at 8 minutes, so teams would just stack Smite, which again in this tournament in the NA side we saw people once again stacking Smite, but they would stack the Smite items, smite the shit out of that major prime, and then that was just a win. You would win at 8 minutes because there was no possible way an enemy team could ever burn that thing down fast enough. But that was not present this time. What we had present this time was the mini primes, which I think if anything, this tournament showed a lot of people try and talk about how Overprime is a team deathmatch and it's just death ball. Not true. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of team fights, but Overprime is all about those objectives, securing the prime spirit or securing the mini prime and then the major prime after that. And so it funnels a lot of fighting around those objectives because everybody knows how important they are, especially in these competitive teams. So that's why you get a lot of fighting. That's why it seems like a death ball. It's not really a death ball. You're actually fighting for MOBA objectives and making those decisions, trying to get a pick so that you can safely take those objectives, or trying to capitalize once you take those objectives, get in there and steal them, all kinds of stuff like that.
On that note, one of the things that like I saw from the GTG tournament, and I like was talking to people about it, and it feels like there's such like a thin margin, like a knife's edge of what can make a good team and what makes a great team in this game now, and that is the ability to make flash calls on objectives after the team fight. And that's something I feel like we saw a lot of out of RPP in their tournament run. They got to pick on one dude. Okay, the carry's still up, the mid laner's still up, they have better secure objective, they rotate to the side of the lane that has spirit because they are more willing to lose that than to lose prime. Okay, they get that. Everyone goes back to lanes, pushes. Next team fight, we get 2 picks. We're feeling more confident. We're going to rotate over here. The moment opposition comes up, push them, get them to a certain threshold, force them to back, and then they just would burst down prime to get that damage. And a lot of the time, that also got a pick. And it all, for me, like viewing this and watching some of the replays, came down to this team's synergy and ability to make such quick calls. The moment someone was down, the back line was already rotating to an objective. And it was insane to see. Like it was amazing, man. It was such good content.
And the way they would play these objectives too, they would be pulling mini prime away from the enemy team's side to make it less likely that they'd be able to smite from the bushes. Or they were pulling, I don't know why I never thought of this. They would take prime spirit and pull it up on the ledge completely out of the pit and fight it there on their side of the map. There was a lot to learn from this. I think one thing we definitely learned too is that ADCs aren't nearly as strong in a coordinated environment as they are in the uncoordinated, just pick up quick battle mode, because ADCs 100%. Absolutely dominated any game that they were in like quick battle. Like you could take them mid. If you had an ADC mid and an ADC duo and an ADC off lane, you were going to win that game. You were just going to win that game. But in a coordinated environment, we saw how freaking strong tanks could be and how tanks could just completely shut down those ADCs. And you can't have 3 ADCs and no tank. It just don't work. You can have 3 tanks and 1 ADC though.
And why do you say they were tanks were completely stronger in a coordinated match than a non-coordinated coordinated match? What is the difference that made them stronger? Because as far as we know in quick battle, it's usually the more ADCs, the stronger the team, and all the ADCs are overpowered, as we all see, and that's why people have been taking 2 ADCs and sometimes even 3 ADCs into a quick battle match. So what is that factor that actually made tanks stronger in a competitive or more coordinated gameplay, in your opinion?
Well, I think personally, it is the capacity to rotate. That communication you have with your team is a whole nother level of oppressive to an ADC, depending on where they're trying to lane, and kind of emphasizes why supports are so necessary and why taking them into like the mid or solo lane can be dangerous, right? Because if you're playing like, for example, Murdoch, we saw this in game 2 of the finals with RPP and Full Send. I think it was Rampage would frequently be rotating into that middle lane. And there was multiple instances where he would rotate on this pushed up Murdoch, and he would blink forward. He would just try to secure the kill because he knew he was dead, and it would be frequent. The Rampage was in mid, then he was in the duo lane, then he was portaling over to solo, and applying that pressure on what is already an innately tankier character would set them behind on farm, would make the wave kind of re-push back towards them, and them falling behind on that farm kind of made them innately weaker. But that communication from the team and kind of full sense counterplaying to them having 3 ADCs was just kind of like, it was like sitting down and like watching a class on like, okay, you don't have to just lose to 3 ADCs. This is how you counter it. You apply the pressure, you put them behind on farm, and then you start to roll towards those objectives.
Yeah, and Soul Reaper pointed it out too. Soul Reaper, an excellent mid laner during that tournament. Holy crap, he took Rampage mid lane and dominated a gadget with a Rampage mid. You don't see that every day, but anyway.
Gadget, I would think that Gadget would be banned.
She was banned. She was banned most of the time. Almost every game she Gadget did have a 100% pick ban rate. She was either played or banned every single match, almost always banned. But the thing is, yeah, the tank items are super powerful, especially late game. But when you're in a coordinated environment like that, like Ego said, the rotations are down pat. Like that's the weakness of an ADC in the off lane, is they usually have very little or no escape, and they're very susceptible to ganks. So if you have a team that is working with you and ganking that lane, then you're going to shut down that ADC, and an underfarmed ADC is extremely just a squishy, non-damage dealing entity on the battlefield. And then on the battlefield, I didn't mean, but then the other thing too is we saw some of the teams, like if they got a bad match in their off lane, like a Sevarog into like an ADC or something, they would just be like, you know what, that lane's gone. We don't worry about it, Sev. Just stay under your tower, farm it up. If you die, then oh well. Later in the game, when you're big and beefy, that's when you'll get your revenge. And they were able to do that. They were able to concede one lane in order to gain advantage in the others, and then push for the win in the end. So yes, tanks in a coordinated environment definitely way better than ADCs. But I see people in my chat at least saying it. It really wasn't ADCs that were the problem. It was crit damage kind of was the problem with Overprime. But yeah, I mean it's the same thing really. In the end, it's the ADCs that are mainly building the crit damage. But yeah, crit and Overprime is a little too overpowered.
Little too overpowered, which reminds me of a question that somebody had asked: how much crit can you build on a character? If you recall that one, Mangoose.
That made me laugh so hard.
Don't go
there. Too much. I close my eyes and I just see like a third of my health bar disappearing from an auto. It's so insane. Especially on a TB, like bang bang, and I'm like, I thought I was a part of this team.
Yeah,
I'll go home. I'll go home.
So what happened? You guys said all the way up until the grand finale. What happened there? What happened at the grand finale? Who won, and why do you think that team in specific won? What did they do that was so different? That was so that made them reach reach that grand finale and win. What do you guys think?
Well, NA tournament is a whole different story. EU tournament, it could have gone either way. It really could. It really could have gone either way. Both teams played their butts off and did an excellent job. It was just a matter of getting certain objectives at certain times. It just really eked out the win. But the NA tournament was a little weird because of the I don't know if I want to say it. I'll go ahead and say it. All the fucking fault fucksticks that are going through toxicity withdrawals. That they need their toxicity so bad that they tried to ruin the NA tournament. And so for that reason, there was a bunch of disqualifications in the brackets. And then there was one team that just bounced, just left because they were getting tired of the other teams being toxic to them. So one of the teams in the finals, Mitchell, but the ones who won, they didn't have to play like the semis or the quarters or the semis. They just had to play the finals. So once the other team got there into the finals, you could tell they were just wore out. They were just tired. Like the fatigue had set in. They were making a lot of just crazy, dumb decisions that you just did not see them making earlier on in the tournament. And it's just very unfortunate that happened.
Yeah. It was tough to like watch through some of the VODs of the match. I mean, I've never used the term fuck sticks, but like these absolute fucks, man. It was a tough watch. Overall, I think everyone who came to play played well, but there has to be a certain level. And this is like a community enforced thing, right? Like saying it on this show, the devs saying it, just seeing it in your general play patterns and your quick play lobbies and your competitive. There needs to be a certain level of like respect for other players. And listen, I've seen League, so I don't anticipate it happening anytime soon. But like, if people load in, these people came to play, and if you're loading into a competitive lobby, the intention is to win. So if someone is falling behind, if someone's losing, if in your opinion they're feeding, they're not as happy about it as you are. They are probably distraught. They're probably trying to catch up, and they're trying as hard as you to get it up, although they're not doing it as well. And So seeing in one of the first competitive environments for Paragon, seeing that kind of toxicity that leaked out of some of the Fault community, it's disappointing. But and man, Goose, you can tell me, and you low too, if you're hopeful about this. But I'm hopeful that over time it'll get better. People are going to acclimate into the game, into the new environment. The community grows, and people like you, people like Low, are going to like help kind of show the way of new players entering into the game,
I hope so.
Some of that positive energy, right?
Lo, you're muted.
I hope so too, but I have a lot of people here, actually a couple of people in the chat here saying that they don't think that the tournament was really a fair and unfair grounds for everybody in this time era, at least where not everybody was able to get hands-on the game and practice in this testing period to be able to participate and fairly experience the tournament. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it was a fair matchup? Like the whole setup of the tourney being this early on. Like they would say, why not wait on a tourney setup to be when the game fully launches? Why now, for example? And this is actually a question I asked, why did they decide to hold a tourney in this time period where not everybody, has had enough practice, has had enough familiarity with the game? What do you guys think about that?
It's just for fun. It's not pro teams or anything. They're not playing for a $10,000 cash prize. It's just a fun thing to do with the community.
I agree there. It was just for fun. And I'm pretty sure people who participated actually had a blast. Even viewers, at one point, I went into Jelly Needs' stream. I was watching through his stream on Twitch, and man, old man, that stream was litty hot. There was a lot of people participating, viewing. The hype was real. I really wish we could see something again like that when the game really launches, and there would be maybe more teams able to participate, on a bigger basis. But
I also agree with Meg. It was like it was for fun, but also if you're like for the people in your chat, if you were like watching some of the streams, there was pretty solid information to be gleaned from it, right? So it's closed now. It'll reopen on the 8th for early access, right? So maybe some of the items have changed. Maybe some of the heroes are tweaked. And, that's all good and fun and all, but that map isn't changing. And seeing where people rotate to, their positioning. One of the examples in this is in the RPP Full Sin match, looking at that Muriel's positioning in game 1. And, I mean, no offense to the player. They're excellent. They're great. But they got farmed because of it. And that can be informative for people trying to learn things about the game. Be like, okay, they were too, far pushed up. Not everyone has, 50, 100 hours in MOBAs. They were too far pushed up. And now maybe, Jimmy, who just happened to be tuned in high school when he should be paying attention to Miss Kruger teaching trigonometry, now has a basic understanding of all right, maybe I should be placed behind my carry, but close. That way I can absorb hits, but place my shield, but also give them the movement speed and maybe get help with these procs or absorb damages. There's a lot of things that being gleaned from any environment where everyone is playing to win. And overall, it wasn't for anything, but I feel like people are able to get stuff out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Luxillian said in chat just now that people get a special emblem for participating in the tournament, I guess. So that's kind of cool. Ray Leos, how you doing? So there was a few things, but this wasn't Soul Leave putting this tournament on. Soul Leave didn't decide to hold a tournament for their final beta test. This was just completely the community getting together and deciding to make this happen.
Yeah,
I will say there.
We got Stunt in here in the chat. Stunt says hello to both of you guys.
Oh, Stunt.
Hey.
Stunt. Wish you were here, man.
They're also saying, Fox McCloud says in my chat, this is kind of new to me, and this is pretty big information that I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to hear, is there was a message, and Pilgrim said it too, there was a message from Ranger saying he talked with people at Epic, Sony, and Microsoft about consoles. So Epic, Sony, and Microsoft, so maybe Xbox and PlayStation 5.
Yep,
that's
for
good to
all
hear.
you people who've been asking, when is this game gonna be out on consoles? We want to play it. I always have a lot of people asking me I wish they would bring this to console. We want to have a hands-on on it. It's not fair that only PC players get to play it. Here's your good news. Soon this upcoming year, guys, it's coming to console. So that's a big hype. That's major news, I believe. I think that's what was missing, and people were, they had hopes up, and it is going to happen. It is going to happen, and I believe they mentioned also crossplay, that they will be having crossplay where you could, play and share the game with people from different platforms. I believe that's going to be big there.
One of the major things they need to add, though, is definitely something we're going to get into later, is controller support. They need to add controller support to this game as quick, fast, and in a hurry, as fast as they can.
I believe they will be adding, I'm sure of that. They will be adding controller support. They were just worried about how fair, because, with controller support, there's something called aim assist. How fair would that come into play? So they just wanted to make sure it's fair for everybody, for all the players, and they will incorporate it. That's the latest thing we've heard from them. And again, there is a lot, just like we said in the last partner panel, that there is a lot of community-based, support for controller, like different configurations where people can actually make it happen. We did see a lot of people struggle in the testing period, were unable to play using a controller, but then, we funneled it down after producing a few videos, little tutorials here and there. People were actually getting to play it. But hopefully, and we're very hopeful that they actually release an official one where you can just plug and play, use any controller you want. I'm very hopeful for that. I think that's something that they are working on. It's going to happen as well.
All right. And as far as, well, I think somebody asked in my chat the game quality between NA and EU. I think the EU games, I think, were a little better, in my opinion.
For sure.
The EU games in general, like what do you mean? EU pinks or
just
better?
The games were just better. I think they were more well played and a little closer and tight.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was great plays and great action in both, but I think I think the EU gameplay was just a little bit tighter, which is not surprising. I mean, I'm an NA guy, but I know from experience that EU is almost always a little bit better than us when it comes to esports.
Not for too long. Oh, wait, can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? Oh, I feel like that's bad.
No, you can say it. You can say it.
You can say whatever you want.
Dude, every EU player, I'm coming for you, dude. Next tournament, we're coming hard. But no, speaking of how tightly these games were played, and bringing up the controller support thing, I feel like a really big part of them, moving things to console. I know there's a large community there, and a lot of the chats on both Predecessor and in Paragon are whoever makes it to console first is going to win the war.
Shall be the winner.
It's like console is like Excalibur and The Rock, and the community is yanking as hard as they can, and it's not going quite for anyone. And I will say I kind of disagree, right? So if you, and this is not me saying this is not indicative of my thoughts completely, but if you're playing in Pred, you open it right on your console. You pop it open on PlayStation. It goes up and you're like, let's go. And you're getting 18 frames. If the product is poor and Overprime releases theirs and it's a smooth playing game like it is on PC, very fast, very intent. There's not a lot of time to not be actively thinking. It is a very concentration heavy game. I can bet anyone in either of your guys' chat. Oh, yeah, also my chat. I'm definitely streaming as well. Yeah, my chat's been saying things this whole time. I bet a lot of the community will be willing to transition over, and that's why it's taken so long. Because as much as we may think okay, it's whoever gets there first, it's honestly going to be, in my opinion, whoever supplies the best product, whether that's how strong the aim assist is, maybe that's how many different consoles it's on. Maybe that's how smoothly it rolls on crossplay. Exactly.
Crossplay is very important, yeah.
Yeah.
We saw Blood Hunt. I don't know if you guys ever played Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, but that game was kind of ruined by terrible aim assist. Ugh.
Oh yeah. I played a little bit of that, and it's a mess.
I guess I shouldn't say terrible aim assist. It
is terrible.
Overly good aim assist.
Overly good aim assist. It's lock on aim assist.
This is a scrub take, and I know it. This is not a good take. That game was ruined by the dudes who could turn to marble and ignore damage. I made so many
enforcers.
Literally, I'm they killed look what they did to my boy.
You play that game?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I think I had an average of like a 10.2 KD by the time the game had died.
Nice.
I was cracked to shit. Like,
Laying
I
it
really
down.
enjoyed the game.
That's nice.
It was a really cool game, and Enforcer killed it. I think.
But
On another note, what else do you guys have? For these people, I know the game is not available right now. There's not much going on right now, and we're here to, answer a few questions if you guys might have. We're all very excited, I know, for this game to come out. A lot of people are saying, now we have withdrawal symptoms. We can't play the game anymore. We just want it back. I've been hearing that a lot. I mean, me personally, I don't know what to play. I'm like rolling between games, between Call of Duty, I just want this game to be out, man. I never knew I was going to be hooked to this game as much. I played a lot of Faults. I was like, man, this is it. This is it. I don't think I'm going to be hooked to Paragon Overprime as much as I did in Faults, but hey, I think I found my nest. I think I found my game. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who are waiting on it.
So if you guys are looking for a rather smooth segue into another topic, I actually have a couple questions for you guys, because I mean, we were talking about this before, but Mangoose, when you were like creating content for the original Paragon, I was like a kid.
Yeah, we were talking about that, yeah.
And so I kind of like, because I got to play some games with you. I would like to say I got to play some games with you, Mangoose, but that first game was a stomping. Did you
go against him? Stomping? Why you went against him?
No, in the dev versus content creator.
Yeah.
Jon Snow, guys in chat, it's real. Oh Jesus, it was so real.
Yeah. He was on bad ping too, and he was still.
I was like, if you want, you could miss one auto. Like, you don't have to hit all of them. But I wanted to ask you guys while we're here, after getting to play, experience a variety of characters, especially knowing like Mangoose, you guys are both support mains. What, after playing in the current state of it, from what we last saw, what do you guys think is the most important role? Because I think I have some hot takes by what I assumed your guys' answer is going to be.
Important role? I would say it's jungler. I would say it's a jungler because you can have a great carry, you can have a great support who is able to support the carry, able to defend the carry, open advantage for kills for the carry, right? Take damage away from the carry. You could have a great off laner who's able to hold his lane, a great rotator in the mid lane who's able to rotate and go around, help, do his own thing in the lane. However, if you do have a bad jungler, you are at a great disadvantage. I believe the absence or a weak jungler is going to kill your game regardless of how strong. Now, of course, we're talking about we have a 5v5, but we have a very weak jungler or a perhaps missing jungler. What would happen there? So I personally believe it's jungler's role that's most important here.
I think it's game dependent, but usually jungler, if you get a strong tanky jungler, I think that's probably the most important thing. However, if they don't have a very beefy team, then I think the mid laner is actually probably a little more necessary to have a good mid laner in Paragon, I think. Because if you have a mid laner that's constantly rotating over to the duo lane, rotating over to the off lane, they're almost like a jungler, except they are also trying to push a lane and have a tower. So I don't know. I think it's a toss up. If you're up against some beef, then definitely the jungler. If they have a squishy team, then it's gonna be your mid laner, I think.
So I actually partially agree with you on this one, Mangoose, on it being your beef of your team. Like the solo laner is so potent at the end of the game, but also depending on who you guys are, like I agree, it's very game dependent. But I think, in my opinion, the support play in Paragon is so insane.
Yeah.
I was a thorough believer, like you, Lo. I was like, jungle is most important as a jungle main. And in a mid lane, I'm like, nothing else matters. We're going to carry it. We're going to put it on our back and take it to the core. We'll send them the chiropractic bill later. some of the Decker play, some of the Muriel play, some of these like weird off picks, like oh my god, the knockup, the cop with the knockup, I forget Bellica. Like some of these off picks with like Bellica, Faye, and like even Rampage I saw are so insane. And I believe that late game, the carry has the highest capacity to carry the team to a win. That objective shred, being able to shred squishies. If the support is playing well, they're most of the time able to pill because the CC options in the game feel really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like the support is the car that takes them to that point, and when that support game is good, especially with Muriel, having that global ult is super, super potent if it's well utilized. But the biggest thing for me is the starter item for supports giving wards. Every time I played support, it was the first thing I upgraded. Because having 3 wards that auto refilled without a max, there was times where I would see my support come in a lane, put one in bush, put one in the enemy jungle, and then put one by off lane, and then instantly back, rotate it into another lane, offer some support, help get a wave pushed up, and then would ward all of that side of the map. And having that built into their starting kit feels so insane. It feels so insane to have. Yeah, so that's my take on it, is supporting. I can't remember another time I played another MOBA like League, Smite, even the original Paragon, where supporting felt so good. And as you guys being support mates, I kind of wanted to like lay this at your doorstep. Like when you're playing, do you guys feel your impact on the game?
I definitely feel my impact on the game. I mean, I see myself as a very aggressive, support player. But here's the thing: in Paragon, the Overprime, we don't see support items. You pick up your gold gem at the beginning. That's for all supports. But then you're more building into your physical armor and your energy armor, right? I don't see the items that are actually able to provide support for your hero, for your carry. Do you guys agree?
100% disagree.
What kind of items? What kind of items are we talking about?
Chain of Unity. Transfer a bunch of their damage to yourself.
Just like substitution.
The clock, you can heal.
The
crown of the mitre, or I was trying to think of the name of it, but that gives a shielding to everybody.
The gauntlet.
There's stuff that if you shield or heal your carry, it increases their attack power. There's stuff that gave you a defensive aura. There was a ton of support items. I think support and mid lane probably had the most item variants out of any of the other builds. Like all the carries were pretty much cookie cutter crit builds. All the offlaners were cookie cutter tank builds. Junglers were either tank or crit build. But the supports and mid lanes had plenty of options to build into.
Flexibility was
but let's be honest. Who was building truly? Who was really building as a support in Paragon the Overprime? Who was building those support items? Really, you would see. I mean, I'm just going to say I don't do it, because you would see really in matches that people, I would see a lot of times, and most of my matches, not just me, like people who I played against or with or even spectated, people are actually building more defense and armor on their support. And let's be honest, you take that phase, for example, you even take that Decker with her stun, man, her stun hurts, right? You take that support hero, and you build defense and some damage on them, man, they're going to be, I believe, they make a huge difference in the game when you build them that way, just because they're very powerful, not because it's a better way, it's a better tactic. I that's how I've been seeing it happen. Maybe people just have fun doing it like that, because they want to be very aggressive, they want to be able to hit harder, and that's just, I've never personally visited any of the support items on any of the support heroes I played in this testing period, to be honest.
I think it's fun to build like that, yeah, but it's far more effective in a very competitive game to build your support as a support. Plenty of cooldown reduction, so you always have that stun available to build for your ADC. That Chain of Unity, the Mutant Poe to stop somebody from diving onto your ADC. And Mutant Poe still gives you magic damage, and there were so many options for the supports to build as a really good support. I did see a lot of, damage support is fun. Like, don't get me wrong, and like it's cool, but it's not going to win you a game a lot of times. If you're against, like, especially in competitive, and I will say too, yeah, the competitive matches, I went to a couple of them, not a whole hell of a lot, because the few that I went into, we had a shit support that just didn't do anything or just didn't know what they were doing and ruined the games for me, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So like bouncing off of what Mangu said with like that build variation. So one game I'm playing Muriel support. She's in my opinion probably maybe a bad take. As of now, I feel like she's brings the most to a team in the support role. That shielding, when you've got that cooldown late game, might as well have another health bar. But I had one really, really insane game on her. I was like 2-0 and like 29. It was insane. I felt like that was the game. I was like, I'm a support believer. They matter. They are the most important. And I got a request from one of the dudes on the other team who was their support, and I accepted it. We talked afterwards, and he's actually like on my Discord now, and we were talking, and he was like, what do I need to build? I'm like, the difference between your support play and my support play was that you were a support who had 3 abilities and an ult. I was a support who had 3 abilities, an ult, and then another 5 abilities.
Yeah.
I'm watching those cooldowns, like literally into every fight I walked into. I'm like, I have shield up, I have wards I can play serious so we can see if we're going to get ganked. I'm going to heal the party, everyone get around me. We're walking into this bad boy full. And then I see like the steal. He's cocking up that ult. I'm dropping crown on him. He's landing with that shield already. And all my stuff is off cooldown. And so, yeah, I feel like supports, when you build them pure tank, it's a different kind of fun. I mean, I also played a full damage Muriel game. I went 0-16. That happened.
0-16.
Oh, it was bad. I was like, Bubble, hurt them more.
I don't think I can build a damage Mariel on Mariel and Paragon Overprime.
For everyone in both chats, I do not advise full damage Muriel. I also don't advise crit Muriel. I was intoxicated at the time. We're going to excuse it. But yeah, like being able to come into a team fight with so much variety of options, like there's nothing that like felt better playing support than me. Like Chimera dives, fish. Yeah. No. Bad. And like just seeing him he's like, this wasn't a part of the plan. And by the time he's up, I'm ready with either like shields or maybe a Narbash stone or maybe a Decker stone, maybe a cage. There's just so many options that you can bring to the table. My pure goal here is to make some support players because the game needs more. And both of your guys' chats. But yeah, that was my take on that one, and it kind of leads into the secondary thing. If we're in the mood for another smooth segue,
go for it.
Go for it.
So with our belief in what's the most important role, earlier I said, what is the most important role? What do you guys think, character-wise now, is the character who has the highest capacity to carry the game 20
as an ADC, you mean?
In? As any character who has the highest capacity to just carry, I mean, put it on the back, send them the bill for the chiropractor. We're riding it to the core. Who do you think has the highest capacity to carry a game? I also would like to know what you guys' chats think about it.
Yeah, let me know, chat. Let me know who you think has the highest capacity to carry it. I know who I think it is, and it's not one of the S tier heroes or one of the top tier heroes, but I'll whip it out. Go ahead, La.
We have TB here, Chikiniki Hey saying Twin Blast.
Twin Blast?
What else do you think, chat? Yeah, we have Twin Blast. Is that what you think, Magus?
That's not what I think, but I think that's a very good choice because he's very slippery, does a lot of damage. He's got everything in one little package there. I think Howitzer, personally. I think if you have a really good Howitzer, he will absolutely carry your team. He doesn't need to get all the kills, but with great mind placements, great ultimate placements, and just the R2000 rocket keeping that guy that's at 1 health getting away. I think Howitzer could have the most impact for his team out of anyone, while still dealing shitloads of damage.
Yeah, and again, that's just also mainly because you say you're a firm believer that you think that the most important role in a team is the mid laner / jungler. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's fair to say. It's fair to say it's Howitzer. I believe so too. If I was a firm believer like you that mid lane, hey, it's the most important role that can carry on to a win, definitely Howitzer. Man, I don't want to be hit by that rocket. Absolutely not. It's doing a lot of damage. But then again, so is a bomb, gadget bomb, man. That gadget bomb that hurts. You know, one minute you're like half health, next minute you're like dead, waiting at the core.
That rocket ain't the power of Howitzer. The power of Howitzer, though, is the mine, the boot mine.
That's, yeah.
I feel like Howitzer, as far as mid laners, has the best spatial control out of anyone.
Yeah, agreed.
My chat said Feng Mao. I think that's an excellent choice. Feng Mao or Gadget is what some people are saying. On paper, Sereth, but Sereth did not perform all that well, I think, in this overall test.
Ego, you played a lot of Sereth, I believe. Yep, there you go. You're flipping that lip. You were like, nah, I disagree. I've seen you a lot on that. Sereth, what do you think?
Okay, so I've said this to the people I've played with. Sereth jungle is great in quick plays. Keep that shit out of competitive. It doesn't work. You basically are not an actual functioning character for the first 6 minutes. Guys, next time you load in, try it in a quick play game. Go Fanatic's Dessert, first item after your jungle item. After that, you're going to build into the one that looks like the red mask that gives lifesteal. And then after that, just build your crit. It's awesome. I like one of my thumbnails is Sereth hitting someone for 983 damage. It's awesome. It's great. In competitive, for the first 5 to 6 minutes, and this is someone who played within this closed beta test. I think I ended up 12 hours of gameplay on Sereth. It doesn't work in competitive, and that's okay. She's just a fun character.
And it's final beta test. Maybe she'll get some buffs.
Maybe if you guys in Netmarble are listening, please make those cooldowns not as bad. I use something and I'm like, all right, guys, I'll catch you back in 23 seconds. But yeah, no, I think Feng Mao is an awesome answer. Like Feng Mao late game, that shield building him a little bit of attack speed with the tank items, and that execute is just an all the time threat. Like it doesn't matter if you're the tank, it doesn't matter if you're like the squishy or the twin blast. That ult hit you and you got that red X. I hope you like gray screens because you're gonna be looking at it. It's super good. But before I say mine, Lo, what did you think personally yours was, not your chat? Who carries the hardest late game? You're muted.
I can also say it's Howitzer, I believe, because I played Howitzer myself. I suck at him really bad. I think at anything I would put that bomb and make him escape. I'm like, I play against my team there because I don't know how to lay that Howitzer bomb. But I think it's Howitzer. I played a lot of against Howitzers in mid lane, even when I was in the off lane or support. That Howitzer be deadly, just like Mangu said. He smells like he's coming out of a prison. He's like coming out of the sewers, prison sewer, something like that. I hate that character. I really do. I cannot go against him with any character. I've tried Gadget. That's viable, but again, he hits pretty hard. So I do also think like Mangoose. He's one of the characters that can lead on a good Howitzer. Absolutely, we're saying here he can lead on a team to victory. Definitely, even if you have a weak jungler, I believe he can compensate if he rotates correctly and helps out other lanes and is able to push and win his lane early, or keep at least the enemy mid laner at bay. Where you push your minions in and you're off rotating, for other objectives. Other than that, if you'd ask me and Howitzer was in existence, I'd say FaZe. Man,
she was good.
With her pull, with her blind, man, she is deadly.
FaZe mains
She's
rise
deadly
up.
as fuck. Yeah.
Who'd you think, Ego?
So uncannily enough, right? I have a list over here to my left. Number 3, like going from like bottom to top on that list, is Gadget for a lot of the same reasons as Howitzer. That spatial control, the damage, the ability to give yourself a little bit of that movement speed out of combat. And if they're following behind you, it doesn't do a lot of damage. But you know what it does do? That damage takes someone out of sprint mode, and that can be huge. And then second on that list is Howitzer, actually. Spatial control, really good evasion, amazing evasion, a tilting amounts of why aren't you dead yet? That ult, being able to create that vertical space, his knockback bombs, really good. Number 1 on my list, actually, is Revenant.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Oh.
Late game. If he can make it the late game.
Rev's ability to just take you out of the fight. Rev doesn't care that you have that bomb to create space. Because I'm going to take you in this ult. It's going to be me and you. And we're going to talk. And I got 4 shots. A lot of spit because he has a cold all the time that does a lot of damage. And it actually was Howitzer for me as well as first. But then I thought about it and I was like, Rev's ult is also a root. And that route for a Howie, if this Revenant is spaced properly, dude, you better break the R button on your keyboard because you have 3 shots and then he's going to spit at you and you're gone. No more spatial control. And the fact that it takes you away from the enemy tank, it takes you away from the enemy burst mage outside of the Howie, it takes you away from the enemy carry. The fact that it can also be used as an escape, right? You're getting low health. Ult this guy. I'm out. We're going to the other side of this team fight, to the other side of the map. But a diligent support, a diligent solo laner, a diligent team can still see where you are and where you're moving to and reposition yourself around that. It feels so strong, and this is all me actually petitioning to please remove the roots on Revenant's ult. Jeez, man, it feels so good. But Howitzer is also my second pick. I think he is. Post 20 minutes, I think he's the best mage in the game.
We did see in the tournament they were taking Prime, and Sevrog tried to come in for the smite steal, and Revenant just ulted him, just completely removed him, and removed his ability to smite that Prime, and that's what won them the game, which was really cool to see. However, I do think a very, very skilled Revenant can carry hard, especially late game, can carry hard. But Margit Stone just kind of shuts him down if they're not skilled. Just going into stasis as soon as he ults you, a lot of times, especially the very unskilled Revenants would fire all their shots and obliterate into your stasis body that it doesn't take any damage whatsoever. But even if he's a good one, when you use that Margit Stone and you're in stasis, you're wasting a lot of the time of his ultimate. And when you come out of the stone, you're not going to be rooted anymore because that root doesn't last for all that long. So I think he just gets straight countered by Margit Stone if somebody's on top of their shit.
I agree with that. I very much so do agree with that. It's for me, like, it's in combination with the root, with the damage, and him just being able to, like, someone is being taken out of this team fight. It might be the high damage mage. Sometimes he might not even be trying to kill you. He's just opening. This is all theoretical, by the way. I've never done this myself, but his ability to basically open up for the team to reposition at the beginning or the end of a team fight feels so huge to me. Yeah. And I feel like when people get some more time under their belt, we will see things like Revenant ulting the high DPS mage at the beginning of the fight, whether that be Gadge, whether that be Howie, whether that be Fave, so the other 4 have time to kind of reposition, maybe not around that person, but around a squishy. Maybe he just ults out the support. Just like, TB, I know you thought you had a friend here. I'm taking steel. He's with me. But that's all I personally had for those couple questions, and it's really nice getting your guys' insight on that, and getting your opinions, especially from the highest DPS phase main I know.
well, let's move on now. I'll go. I'm sorry, Lo. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Continue.
I was just going to say let's move on to G-Star. Because I actually did not see a whole heck of a lot coming out of G-Star. I know they had a LAN tournament. I know Netmarble had, they were really pushing 4 different games at G-Star, with Overprime being one of those 4 games that they were pushing. And it was a big deal for them because it's the first PC/console game that they're going to be moving forward with. But I expected to see a lot more in the Discord, a lot more hype and a lot more announcements and like videos and posts about G-Star, but we did not see it. I guess they think that us in the Western audience just don't care about G-Star as much as the Eastern audience, which is true. I think that, but I had never heard of G-Star until this year. So maybe that's why they're not pushing it as hard. But I would have liked to have seen what went on with G-Star. Ego, you said you watched some of it live. Did you watch the LAN tournament or?
Oh yeah, I watched the LAN tournament live. There was a lot of things I got from watching these guys play. We talked about this earlier, so I don't want to expand on it too much. Their play was so tight. It was kind of gross, like in some instances. Like you would see someone ult someone to low, and before that ult resolved, before someone drops from the steal ult, the mural's already behind them. And it's like, how long have y'all been playing the game? Because I've had 10 days. And you could, for all my Dragon Ball Z fans in chat, you could put me in a hyperbolic time chamber, and I would not have this level of coherency with the team surrounding me. It is insane, and it was very informative. It reinforced my beliefs that wards win games. It looked like a Christmas tree on that map because, they're spectating. You get the view of both teams' ward coverage, and it was literally at a point in the game just lit up. Mangoose, you would step out of your core and they would be making call-outs. They're like, the Wraith, he's gone through the left wall. He's gone through left wall up. He's making his way through the jungle. He stopped. He took a piss break. He bought a nutty bar. Okay, up. He dropped the nutty bar. He's on a diet. He picked up the salad. The salad has tomatoes. He has an allergy. He's rotating to mid to pick fruit. And it was like, it got to a point in the game where they just stopped. They just stopped killing each other's wards. I literally watched.
Like, we're done. Yeah.
Go by someone's other's overlapped ward. And he just nothing's that. The importance they put on it was insane. But you can see why both teams knew 100% of what was going on. Like, someone's coming this way. Do we want to take this? And they're like, there's 4 people waiting for me over there. Are you guys going to come help me out? And that information led to such smart decisions. I think I ended up only watching like 4 or 5 hours total between everything. But, okay, the commentary took me out of it a little bit. Once again, I had no idea what was being said. Like, it was just loud shouting, and I assumed they were making play calls, but there was 3 of them all shouting. And it got to a point where I was like, mute. Thank you.
I don't understand what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if they provided us, like, if there's a way we can go back and watch and see and get to know what was going on there. Like, I believe it's like Gamescom, like every year's Gamescom here, but it had a lot of hype. I mean, I saw all the advertisements about it and whatnot. And actually, before the show, I dug in on the internet to try to get some information. I did not find quite a lot, to be honest. I just knew they had like 150 booths, and they were promoting multiple. Netmarble had their own big booth with different segments, and they were promoting multiple of their games, including Paragon, the Overprime. It was very hyped. I just wish it was, I don't know, translated, some captions or anything where we could, get to understand what's going on. And, yeah.
And Pilgrim in my chat brought it up, and I kind of worry about this too, is that it does feel like they are very much targeting the Eastern audience, which I think is a smart plan for them, but I feel a little bit left out over here. Like, I
agree.
A little bit. I think that's exemplified too by them not having a Western server for the an NA West server. They only had an NA East server. But it's probably just not worth it to them. Like, the vast majority of their players are Eastern, so we kind of have to wait over here for the Western side for something to happen. Hopefully we don't get forgotten. Hopefully they become big enough, and hopefully this final beta test will show them that there is enough Western attention on their game that they can go ahead and start marketing a little more heavily for the Western audiences.
Yeah, man, I completely agree with that, and it's it's a decision I understand from them, but it also this is contradictory. I understand it, but it doesn't make sense, right? Paragon was a game that had a massive North American audience. Like, I think the petition for it, when it like shut down just like NA signatures by itself, got somewhere like north of like 22,000 to like get the game revived. And I feel like they have been showing some attention over here, but it's exemplified, like you said, by them not having an NA West server. And I'm just hoping that in the future, maybe that's something that'll be announced, right? Like beginning of next year, they're like, hey, we see you guys, we hear you, here's some stuff, for you. I think it would be nice.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna grab something to drink. I'll be right back.
Right.
What do you think, Lo?
Move in here into a different topic. I know the game is going to be gone, or it is gone actually, until December 8th. And we always hear about, are they going to balance some heroes? Are they going to give us something different? What are we expecting to see when the game actually launches in early access, full release? What are we expecting to see? More hero balance? Probably, different cards added, give us this card, why don't you add more cards? Are we going to see like more spots or slots to actually add in our own, wards, so we can all have wards, just like we're used to in other games like Fault. I know some people are saying, nerf this character is too overpowered, nerf that character and whatnot. What do you guys think that the majority of the community, shall I say to you, Ego and Magus, or what does the community think that Paragon the Overprime needs to work on the most before they actually go full on release on December 8th?
I asked my community this, and for the most part, I think everybody had a lot of different answers, like nerf crit, like that's a big one, is nerf crit. But I think probably the biggest one was they need to fix the bugs. I was not expecting to have so many bugs in this release of the game. There were far more bugs in this release of the game than there was in the last closed beta test that they had. Aurora was an absolute fucking mess.
Just in the wall.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Especially that video where she goes all the way high up in the sky, unlimited. Did you guys see that video where she's able to skyrocket all the way up endlessly? That was insane.
I had an Aurora game where I was pushing a lane. I pushed out Xena, the new character. Xena's awesome. And I was like, there was this huge wave of farm. And because I'm a monster and a demon, I was using her ice slide to cut off the minions, so their minions had to be outside my eye. I know it's not a great thing to do to your opponent, but like I was here to win.
Yeah.
And I used it to cut the wave again, and I literally went into the wall. And I couldn't get out. And it hurt my soul so much because I tried to use the ability again. I used her ult. I tried to use the jump, but I was stuck into the wall. And I had to watch as the tower blew up like a wave of 14 minions in front of me. And I just got none of the gold or XP from it because I was too far. And I ultimately fixed it by having to try and back 3 times. And I had to wiggle to a part of the wall where I was mostly out, and then I was allowed to back. And I see Xena just running back down the lane, and I'm like, I just lost so much farm. So yeah, bugs being fixed is huge. As far as things I would like to see on full release, I don't think this will happen. I don't think they're going to be realistically adding in a bunch of new cards into the game. I would love to see some more anti-CC options. This is coming from someone who's been ulted 1 times too many by Kalari. I would love a card that doesn't give me immunity to damage, right? But it's 1.5 seconds CC immunity or CC break. They have it in Smite, they have it in League. I think the Smite one is beads. You use it, you are CC free for 1.5 seconds. And I think that would open up to a lot of counterplay. For some roles, like the mid lane, the solo lane in some instances when you're getting that level 2 gank. And it can be, I would personally like to see it on the legendary form of the item, not as an active like you can get on some of the lower tiered ones. But I personally would just like to see more anti-CC options.
Well, there was Holy Relic of Asan that would, that was CC immunity. There was also gloves that you could CC immune someone else, which were really nice to have on on a support, especially if there was a very aggressive phase on the enemy team, because they would link to somebody and you would just their link would just be gone, which would confuse. You could almost see the confusion on the character's face.
They're like, what did, but that was my rope.
Yeah, you just cleanse it and it's done for. It's like crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of phases, Bull, what do you guys think they will be doing, or what's your opinion that they will be doing on Richter? Do you think they're going to keep his pull, or they might change? I mean,
I don't know.
Team, it's pretty.
It's just a harder to hit pull, really.
Yeah, like,
it is harder.
It's just a hard pull.
I don't know. Okay, here's one. Soul Reaper says, please fix the rubber banding on melee autos, especially Kwang. I didn't notice this personally, but I don't play a lot of melee, so.
I got a couple games on Xena.
Okay. I know they tried to do like the hit stop animations like in fighting games to lend some weight. I wonder if they just overdid it a little bit and it's making the autos rubber band. But yeah, that needs to be fixed. Another thing, there's a lot of people bringing up stuff that needs to be fixed.
We have here Saber's Fortune saying bug fixes, interactions, map collisions. Yeah, going underground, was it fun?
The Prime, a lot of people have been. This is a bug fix. This is just a gameplay thing. The Prime, taking Prime, actually dealing damage to everything on the map and being able to just solo core by itself, taking that third Prime, if their inhibs are down, will just kill their core. A lot of people hate that. I know a lot of people. I thought it was fun, but the more I think about it and the more I see people make their arguments, I've been swayed a little bit. I think they should do away with that. I think Orb Prime should just give you a buff. Just give your team a buff and enable you to do what you want to with it. If that means to push down the inhibitor and the core, then so be it. But having it just do it on its own is it could be a little toxic, as we saw in the NA tournament. Smite was the star of the show for that tournament. Just stacking a bunch of smites, jumping in and triple smiting objectives to clear them, or triple smiting them away from the opponent. Yeah, that I do think it pains me to say it, but I agree with everybody now. I do think they need to fix that and remove it, or have it just not deal damage to the core or something. I don't know.
Just like we're used to from the past MOBA, that we get that buff, that the extra power, and we just decide to, do with it what we want to. But I haven't played a game that far or that deep or that lengthy where, to see if the Prime gets stronger, because it's kind of like not that hard to take it down. Like, it's pushing into your inhibitor. You're all shooting at it. It's not really, it's doing damage, but it's not easy to take it down. I just feel like, yes, while the whole team is focusing on taking it down, which is, everybody's hitting hard enough at that point, your enemy doesn't have that big chance to come in and actually take your inhibitor. There were many times that we were able to, kill that Prime easy peasy and then just turn on the enemy and kick them out of the inhibitor. I also think that they could work with personally think they would work with the Prime, in a nicer way where they could make it useful by, give us that buff damage, give us that extra speed, and we can go with it wherever we want. I was just not a big fan of, I'm just going to throw it here, on this inhibitor, or I did not like that.
And Goose, I fear what your chat's going to do to me when I say this take. I actually kind of feel like Prime is super necessary. Oh man. I understand it can be like aggravating, and I think there are ways that the dev team could definitely work around it being a problem, right? Easy one that, like, in the moment you like kind of explained that grievance was that I thought of to myself was like, okay, well, what if they added a shield mechanic? Once it has been smited, it gains a shield that absorbs one smite. then if that shield is depleted through some other smite and they use another one against a shield that then puts up 2 smites on it, this kind of negates the ability for both teams to be running 3 smites, right? Because like someone smites it against like a visible shield, someone else smites it, that's 2 down. Now someone else smites it, that's 3 smites down, and now has a shield. That by itself would absorb 5 smites. That's an entire team's worth of smites that would be getting eaten by it. And other mechanics like that that punish multiple uses of a singular item on the objective. Maybe it's something like the item can no longer target something that has already been smited. The reason I'm more of a fan of Prime, of the orb kind of doing this inhib damage is because it feels like in quick play, people can't figure out how to win without the Prime doing damage to the inhib first. There's been so many games where and I also feel like this is a competitive than casual divide. There's been so many quick play games where, you know, you load in and I'm at like 39, 42 minutes and no one's pushing up towers because like the next team wipers is going to end the game. It's not worth the risk. And then we take Prime. All of a sudden those towers are at half. And they're like, okay, we can push to try to end this game that should have been over 27 minutes ago. And as far as competitive play, I do agree. I do agree with your chat. I think something should be implemented because people running triple, quad, penta like smites in a game, it's not fun. It's an abuse of the system and the available cards.
I think a simple system, and people may not like it, is just once you buy your starter item, that's your starter item. You're not, you don't get to switch it. That would avoid this blank madness of resetting the cooldowns and all that. Which it would suck if you wanted to change your builds halfway through. But I don't know. Another thing that's brought up by, let me go back to his name, Sean Thompson, and it was also brought up by a few other people, is the movement penalty for attacking needs to be increased. I agree with that. It seems like you can pretty much just sprint at people with, like, especially Twin Blast for whatever reason. Maybe it's just his animations, but it seemed like you were slowed down not at all while strafing into them and just raining down grenades and triple taps and all the other craziness that Twin Blast could do.
Yeah, I also saw that only on Twin Blast, so not on any other ADC or any other hero. That's what makes him very powerful right now. So we have Meeks here saying that regarding the smite, just make smite either 1 per team or do more damage the more you use it.
Like Flame Possession?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Raven?
I agree with that. I think making it 1 per team could like maybe cause problems within the quick play environment, right? Because like as a jungler, you're pretty reliant on that. Like without smite, you just die. Like the minions, that jungle will kill you. Mm-hmm. And someone's like, I don't trust this dude to confirm objectives. And now you have a solo laner who's running smite, and you're like, I guess I die then, as the red buff beats you to death with your own leg. Because the early minions in the jungle are so strong. They take so long to take down. So
I think the more times you use it, the more damage it does. I think
that's a great fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the way Flame Possession worked in Paragon, and it worked just fine then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, the bunny hopping on Twin Blast, that was a problem as well. There was a lot of different problems with the game. However, a lot of the problems also just kind of contributed to the fun. Like, it's fun to be able to like dash with Twin Blast and then bunny hop your way over to somebody and while shoot. Like, there's all like, it's as Jelly always says, if everybody is overpowered, then nobody's overpowered. And it seemed like everybody was overpowered in their own little way in Paragon the Overprime, and it made it a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff I do want fixed. I know we sound like we're being heavily critical of the game right now, but I think all three of us had an absolutely great and enjoyable time with Paragon the Overprime.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I'm pretty sure a big chunk, if not, a huge chunk of the community enjoyed it. There was always hype. There was always, people wanting to play, people wanting to do customs. competitive mode. You know, the number of the players, what we went to 30,800 players, participants at one point. Yeah, we all enjoyed it. We just hope from, you know, the dev team to work on those tweaks. I don't know much about balancing heroes. I don't want them to do anything to phase. You know, it'll upset me a lot if you guys are listening right now, but yeah, maybe some balancing, some bug fixes. I don't want to be, you know, trapped in the wall because of an Aurora, you know, ice wall trapping me there. I don't want to be able to use her slide, you know, ice slide to go up into places that are considered exploits in the map. And neither do I want to go underground when we have an Aurora and a Xena that happened quite often. But yeah, besides those, it was a very nice experience. I believe we all had so much fun. So yeah.
Yeah, no, the amount of time I put in the game is definitely indicative of how addicting the gameplay has felt. And that's one thing I'm kind of worried about when like Pred comes out here. It's like, can I play a Paragon variation without the sprint mechanic? The speed of like being able to rotate, as well as like how fluid everyone's kiss felt. I was so impressed with Xena. I'm like, this kid feels really strong. She will be getting a nerf. She's definitely getting nerfed.
You think
Sorry, so? Xena.
I think she's overpowered, like some people say.
Xena and Phase.
Oh,
definitely getting nerfed.
We're not talking about Phase. We're not talking about Phase.
If they're watching,
Gadget's definitely getting a nerf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
definitely.
Yeah.
Something I've been complaining about since the start of Overprime has been bushes. You should be revealed in the bush if you attack from the bush, at least for like a couple seconds. You shouldn't be able to just stand in a bush and ping at somebody without being seen. It makes zero sense. If somebody's shooting at you from a bush, you would know where the fuck they are. I don't know. I hate that.
You can see them. They're not completely invisible. It's like standing at any point you're standing in a bush. If you're not moving, yeah, you're not visible. But the moment you move, you turn, you shoot, you're like seen. Like people can see your, I don't know, your like shadow, your aura.
I think he's talking about like the character model should appear in the bush.
Oh, like, the whole character. I don't know, but
100%.
I've been in bushes before, and the moment I move or like, you know, take a shot, like I'm seen immediately, and I'm immediately attacked and pinned down. So I didn't have a problem with that. I enjoyed sitting in there actually.
I'm kind of in between on you guys. I will say it has led to some incredibly fun tangos with people of just like auto attack, get out the bush, get in the bush, out the bush. Now we're back in the bush. Yeah, I'm moving around. Can you see me? Shoot. Like
not when you get smacked with a rock from a support rampage sitting in a bush. Those rocks, man. You're like.
Yeah, do you guys know like the sound from like Metal Gear, like when the like exclamation point comes up, like that sound. I in my head heard that sound one time when I came into a bush, and at the last second I saw it shift a little closer to me, and then there was a phase in there, and she's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" And she's like, "Blind," and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I thought my graphics card got fried because that was the first time I got hit with the blind, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm pixel." The Paragon was too strong.
Playing Minecraft for a second. A lot of people in my chat are very much disagreeing with me about this being revealed from the bush thing. Saying just ward. I mean, Ward's
chat, yeah.
Ward's get dewarded. Acer Blade, I like this comment. I don't know if you can't tell where the bullet from the bush is coming from. That's a skill issue. Yeah, that's funny. But no, I've seen it so many times where like one ADC would get into the bushes against another ADC, and the ADC outside of the bushes was just fucked. Like,
oh yeah,
he would try to be firing back, and like you look to where the bushes are moving, like the weeds are moving. Yeah. You can't be as accurate as somebody that just sees your fucking character model in the lane. I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't see a lot of people. You know, I didn't see like people abusing the bush and sitting in the bush. I mean, I've sat in the bush for quite a while, only to notice there's somebody by me because, you know, I sense like someone's moving. You know, oh, we're camping in the same spot. Let's just be friendly and nobody, you know, do anything to the other.
We're gonna
it was fun.
See each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Bush play, I could go either way. If they make it to where you can see people, I'm like, okay, sure. If they don't, I mean, I guess. But Bush play was super fun. It led for so many moments when I'm recording. Like you're like in a bush. You know the rampage is in the bush. How do you know? Because that rock just smacked you in the face. He didn't need to see your character model for it. So either way on that one, I'm dead center in the middle of you guys on that.
Yeah, I mean, these are all, again, elements that are specific of Paragon the Overprime. This is, I believe, the combination of everything as a package is what makes it fun. It makes it an exceptional experience, not like any other MOBAs. The bushes, being invisible in the bushes, and the travel speed. I really enjoyed, just like Ego mentioned before, for example, being able to rotate from lane to lane, tower to tower, and carry on with the objective, put myself into the team fight, as well as the portal. I know also somebody mentioned in chat earlier that they need to get rid of the portal. I don't know. I'm used to it. I was scared of, what's the portal like? Before this testing period started, I'm like, well, is everybody able to use it? Does it have a cooldown? What's the cooldown like? Do people go into it at the same time? I find it very useful. It's a very nice mechanism where you can engage and participate in team fights, without, again, I didn't see people abusing it just because of the cooldown on it, but it was it was a nice element added to the game. And, along with those three, I think this is what makes Paragon the Overprime different, a unique kind of experience, not like, we shall say a copy pasta of different MOBAs.
I agree with you. I really like the portals. And I think a lot of people complaining about the portals didn't realize that they don't even spawn until 8 minutes in. So they spent 8 minutes being afraid of portals that didn't exist. I think a lot of times. So
for everyone who hates portals, I feel like I'd speak on behalf of all mobile players like myself. This is please look at the map. It literally turns off. Like there is no the icon on the thing that shows it's active will just turn off on the portal. Like the light flips off. So just like shoot it a look. If you notice, because you can see the people your teammates can see. And if I'm in solo and I see Murdoch is sprinting towards that far side, and then all of a sudden the portal thing turns off, he's there. He's rotated. Right. Plus, this kind of like full circle comes back around. Wards, right? Upgrade that support item first. Get 3 for free. Throw one if your solo laner struggling. Throw one on the portal. Then there's zero excuse. You'll see them coming, whether it's the jungle, what the support, maybe it's the carry. Good map vision, and like this is an overall like improvement on improving your gameplay, improving your mechanics. Good map vision, decisions that are based on the information you can gather by looking at the map will lead to you like winning more games.
And communicating.
I love Portal. Yeah, and communicating.
Of course.
Some of those
my
be
solo laner's missing. Yeah, there you go. You expect them to come out of that portal.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get there. We're a unified front. All Portal supporters here.
It made for some interesting plays too. Like if you were going to take mini Prime, just somebody needs to go jump through the portal at Prime Spirit to make sure that the enemy team can't jump through that portal and smite. It added some depth to the gameplay. I like the portals. They need to stay.
Yep, I agree.
In my opinion. Soul Leaves can do whatever they want. That's one fear I always have about Soul Leave is that they'll listen too much, because I think they've already listened a little too much to what people have complained about. Because I liked Prime dunking, and it's gone now because everybody complained about it. I understand why, though. It was very frustrating in the last CBT when somebody would get the Prime orb and they wouldn't realize they had it, didn't know they could drop it. They would just run around in lane, get killed with it. It was like, oh, son of a, But I don't know, like that made the game even more unique. I'm sad to see it go, and I would hate to see other stuff go too.
The map and the Prime dunking is kind of like with them incorporating both Monolith and Agora to being Agolith, this is what kind of reminds us of, Paragon. We had that prime dunking. We enjoyed it. And in fact, if you see there's a closed portion of the map, which is where the prime dunking happens, that is still there. It's just blocked off, but they didn't completely get rid of it, which kind of makes me think, will they use that? Will they bring back prime dunking and just make it a little bit different, since they didn't delete the area? I hope so.
Could be its own game mode, Prime Dunk mode. They could bring their Prime Dunk Royale back from when they were Prime X a long time ago.
Oh, that'd be so much fun, man.
I've got some old footage I could show you. I don't know. I think we're getting out around to an hour and a half. So how about we start wrapping things up? Ego, you're our guest. Why don't you go ahead and any final words or any final topics you want to talk about?
No topics. Just in general, for all you guys and all your guys' viewers who are like actively playing the game and been members of the community, it's guys like you and guys like Mangoose and then also Low who are gonna help the community kind of grow and expand. And teaching someone something can be something that makes them better enough to the next time they're in your lobby. Maybe they rotate to that gang. Maybe they take notice of the portal. So use your comms. Ward, play as a team because MOBAs are a 5v5 game, and I don't know. It's been a lot of fun talking with these guys. It's been really chill.
And again, if they want to hear more from you, Ego, where would they find you?
You guys can check out my YouTube. It's linked in both Low Stream as well as Mangoose's. I've said now more within the last 30 seconds. Like when it's about me, it gets all bad. It's just straight downhill. So I don't have any content uploaded currently on my YouTube. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I'm working on my editing skills because I can't afford an editor. But I should have a video out soon. If you'd be interested in that, maybe drop by my channel, drop a subscription, drop a like on one of the old very bad shorts I made in order to get into the partner program. Outside of that, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been an awesome time. And, the Egoist, and I hope to see all you guys in chat sometime soon.
Right on.
Thank you for joining us today. Obviously, it was a blast. We enjoyed the talk and all the information you were able to give us today and give the audience today. Why don't you go ahead, Mangoose?
Just a great time. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. The game is going to go places. I certainly hope they will. There's going to be, I know a lot of people mentioned in chat, they're like, yeah, they went from 30,000 to 4,000. Yeah, they went from 30,000 one day to like 27,000 the other day, and then like 25,000. You're going to get fall off in games like this, especially a free to play game where people are trying it, but you're also going to get growth over time. You're going to steady out, and then you're going to grow. And I think Overprime has nothing but growth in its future, as long as they can shore up a few of their weaknesses, fix some of those bugs, and make sure that everybody can have a great time on every single hero that they can play. Low, what do you got?
Today's episode 2 of Pop was a little bit short. Again, guys, our Pop show is going to be taking place every Friday, with the exception of this week because of Thanksgiving, and we didn't have Stunt with us today. Again, it's going to be taking place again next Friday. We're going to be having Stunt, Mangoose, and myself, and another possible guest. We will keep you updated. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you for participating in the chat. You guys are awesome. I saw all the polls. Hoping to see you in next episode. And until then, everybody have a good one. Peace.
Hit my button.
My button going now.
Sorry, I thought we were aiming for like an hour and a half. I thought